Good evening. Gonna make sure I'm closer to the microphone this time because I know I was quite quiet last time. Hello. Hope we're all doing okay. Having a good time on this fine Tuesday evening, mid-October. It's getting very chilly over here in the UK. But it's still nice. I hope everyone's doing well. Frozen Well, hello. Nice to see you. Glad you're back. Hope you're on good form. I'm doing well. We're working on something different today. We're going to be working on the dialogue system for our Halloween game, Let Me Out, which you can find out more information about over on our website over at www.shebadogstudios.com/games/let me out, and all of the information is available and present in terms of release dates, stuff about the game and all the rest of it. As you can see from stuff on the page, there is a prototype that exists, which was really quite fun, and if you've happened to have read the recent blog that we released on the YouTube on the website about the game, you'll know it was effectively the project that launched the studio. It was the first game that we worked on. We were working on it as an entry for Ludum Dare 47, I think, where the theme was stuck in a loop, and we were doing this kind of puzzle escape platformer horror game themed around Halloween because it was taking place in October, and I was working on all of the code and my girlfriend was working on all of the graphics and visual side of things, and we both worked on story and sound effects, creating everything from scratch by ourselves, and it was really fun. And that was what inspired me to start the studio in the first place. So I'm really excited that we're doing a proper full release of this game now for Halloween this year. Hello Indie Indian, it's nice to see you again, dude. I hope you're doing good. So the objective for today, as I say, we have a prototype for it. It's really fun. I've been fleshing out the story for this game over the past few days, getting ready to do some recording for dialogue, spoken lines for cutscenes, which is really cool. And everything's in place as far as story goes. So we're just working on nailing down the features and making sure everything's good. And one of the core features is the dialogue. So we are working on setting up a dynamic dialogue bubble system using Yarn Spinner, which, as some of you may know, is the tool that was used in Night in the Woods for handling dialogue and keeping things nice and cool and easy to work with. Hello Casper, how you doing, man? Glad you could make it. Cool, so let's dive right in. I'll show you what we've got so far, and thank you, Frozen Well. I'm glad you like the look of the game. Before I jump in, actually, I want to say, link in description. Square Off is still happening, obviously. We're just not working on it this week because I wanted to work on Let Me Out this week. But if you would like to get a free demo of Square Off, there is a link in the description where you can go in, sign up, and I will email you through a free download for the demo edition of Square Off. If you want to test it out, give it a play, leave us some feedback. It would be much appreciated if you'd be willing to check it out. There is also a link in the description to go and wishlist Square Off on Steam if you haven't already. Wishlists are ticking up, which is very, very nice, and I massively appreciate the support from all of you guys on that front. With those things said, let's get right on to what we're doing today. So, I have already set up this little character with just trying to figure out how Yarn Spinner works. So we've got this dynamic text box which follows the player around and will always point towards the thing that's speaking. We've also got interactable objects that the player looks at, which is using the same code logic that I was using in Echo for the shopkeeper to get him to look at things, and it also does that for the direction that you're moving in or direction that you're looking in with your stick, or in my case with my keyboard, just because I feel like that's a nice feature as far as usability goes, or player feel even. So I think first things first, we are going to scrap our little cube guy and we're going to replace him with the ghost body, which I believe I should have a correctly scaled version of him now. Oops. And you know what, we'll set up a proper room environment as well, just to make things look a bit fun. Let's have a look here. Yeah, that's more like it. So he is 242 pixels wide, which is cool, and we can apply that there. And then we're going to do the same for all of these, make sure they are 242 pixels so that everything is the right size relative to the player. As you can see, I've already dragged and dropped the bed in as one thing. Let's make sure our ghost is now the right size if I drop it under the player. If anything, he's looking like he might be a little bit small, but I think we can probably get away with it. Let's just reset his position, move him up a little bit so he's floating above the ground, and I'm gonna, if I disable that, it does disable the children. We don't want to disable the children. We'll move the eyes under here and move that like that, and then delete the body. And I need to make sure that I haven't messed up anything with the eyes now, which I haven't, so that's good. Make sure our ghost is not too far off the floor, and make sure the eyes and the dialogue target are in the right place. So the dialogue target is going to be just above his head. Yeah, I think 2 is a good position. So I'll explain how all of this dialogue target stuff is working in just a moment. Let's put those eyes in a better position as well, shall we? Yeah, that's more like it. Maybe 0.5. Nah, 0.45. Let's, yeah, stick with 0.45. And I'm going to move them a little bit closer together as well, because they're feeling a little bit far apart for my likings. It's a little bit too close. Let's try 175. Perfect. And let's just make sure all of this is still working as well. Let's set up our collider so that it's the right height, because we don't want to be able to accidentally walk underneath things, because, you know, ghosts can't teleport through walls. There we go. The character controller I'm using, by the way, is the same character controller that we use in Square Off. I've just removed the functionality for jumping, so that it's, you know, we don't want the ghost to be able to jump. We might introduce flying for part of the game later on, but we'll see. Cool. So so the eyes are still teleporting down south, which is something we're gonna have to work on, but our ghost is still working as expected. Let's sort out some of this stuff, shall we? I think the bed's okay as well. So I am changing this eye transform. So what we need actually is an empty component for the face, ACE, and we'll stick the eyes underneath there and zero them out, and then we can move our face up to where we want it, and that should solve our problem. Yeah, there we go. So now our ghost can still look around, he can look at all of our interactable things, and it will I love how that looks. It gives it so much more character than if it were just a a static character. I really love the feel of that. And I'm also procrastinating a little over doing this dialogue stuff. So let's talk about what we've got so far with regards to dialogue. As I said, we're using Yarn Spinner, which is a very nice, very nifty little API slash CSV reader, effectively, that works in pair with the Yarn editor application. That basically it gives you a really easy way to write and process dialogue through the form of this dialogue runner class and a dialogue UI script that come as default with the API. There is more information available about it on the Yarn Spinner website. Obviously, this is not a sponsored live stream or anything like that. Yarn Spinner is completely open source, and it's not something you have to pay for. You can go and contribute to it if you want, but it's a really, really awesome implementation for dialogue. The tricky bit is getting things to display the way you want them. So for me and the purposes of this game, I'd like to be able to have dialogue display text bubbles in the right color for a character above each character's head. So part of that is creating this dialogue bubble that will follow a target, so we can move the player around and our dialogue will stay stuck to the target that we've given it. Let's have a look at the script that does that. So it's a very simple script called Dialogue Bubble Scaler. It's based off of the code given by Matt for Game Dev Guide in his tooltip tutorial, which uses this nifty little couple lines of code to make it so that the dialogue bubble will scale with the text that's in it. I'll just give you a quick example of how that looks. If we go in here and we type in some fun dialogue like, I like to talk about spooky ghosty things on a regular basis, it automatically populates the text box with it automatically resizes the text box to match the dialogue that we've got written. It needs some tweaking to just make sure everything's right, and obviously if there's no text in there at all, it looks a bit weird, but there won't be a situation where there's never any text in there at all. So that's the first part. The second part is getting it to follow the target, so we're just doing a simple null check, saying if we actually have a target, then our bubble tail, which is the triangle bit, is going to sit at the screen space position of our target in world space. So we're using camera.main.world to screen point, which, just for people's reference, camera.main is not the best thing to use. It's relatively inefficient. It would be better to have a reference to the camera that we just set up, and I will most likely switch to that, either that or I'll have a reference to the camera in the player and make use of singletons just to make things a little bit more efficient. But that does a world to screen point, so gets the world position of the object and converts it to a position on the screen, and that's where we're setting our bubble position to. Then for the speech bubble itself, we are setting its X pivot, so the position of its pivot on the X axis, to be the X position of the bubble tail divided by the width of the screen. That way, wherever we position it, or however we position it, it will always have the full text bubble on the screen. So we won't have any text that's hanging off the edge of the screen, which is why when we move him around, default, blah, when we move him around, the text box moves to stay inside the screen. Obviously, if we go miles off, it's going to be an issue, but there's never going to be any situation where the player is not going to be on the screen. So it covers all of our bases, and I'm not worrying about the y-axis because there aren't any situations in the game where the player can move up and down, or not during dialogue at least. So we are just setting that pivot position to new vector 3 that is the bubble pivot X and the original Y value for the pivot's position, and then updating the position of the bubble to be at the position of the tail plus however tall the tail is, so that it sits perfectly on top. So that's all well and good. What we need is a bit of a change. I'm going to make this private, and I'm also going to make it a serialized field, because we have no reason for this to be public. It doesn't need to be public. And then we'll have a public void set target, which will take in a transform target, and we will simply say this dot target equal, not tag, target equals target, so that we can update that. We got cool, you could clamp the X pivot so that doesn't happen, as in clamp it so that or clamp the position so that it doesn't go out of world space, because that makes a lot more sense. That's a good idea. In fact, yes, let's do that. I wonder if that's a thing. Ooh, there's a clamp magnitude, but I don't want to do that. So what I will do instead is, so the tail doesn't break. Oh, as in, give it a minute to compile. So like the situations where it pops off the edge and you get that weird, oh, you are a smart man. Let me figure out what that position would be. Call it 0.05. Spooky, scary. And the other end. Zoom. I guess would be actually why am I stupid 0.95 f. I need to clamp that position as well. I've just realized. Oh, no, I don't. Yeah, cool. So now that works and we don't get the bubble breaking. Big shout out to Sam in chat. Can everybody currently in chat stick some claps? Because I would have completely not thought of that. Brilliant. Cool stuff, cool stuff, cool stuff. Put you at -2, so you're slap bang in position. I recommend getting some blue blockers if you're at a screen during late hours. Oh, actually, yeah, I've got some on my glasses, but I'm not wearing my glasses because I'm a dingus. So let's stick those on my face, and maybe they'll make me smarter as well. So the next thing that I want to do, and a lot of this is going to be kind of cross-referencing the example project that comes with Yarn Spinner, because I need to set up a system for the dialogue to function properly, so that we can actually have conversations with characters and switch through them. So this is going to mean custom variables for setting a speaker based on a tag, I think. Yeah, based on a tag. We'll do it based on a tag. So I need to create probably a class for an NPC, which we'll use as a component, and NPCs have to have a dialogue target, and then we'll tag it as dialogue underscore character name, and then we can set over in our Yarn editor, we can do a little custom command. Let me open up a recent Bossman dialogues, Bossman. So there we go. We can do this custom set speaker command, and pass in whatever our character's name is, and it will move the speech bubble to line up with that target. It'll set the target of our speech bubble to be that character. And I'm going to have to read the documentation for that because I can't for the life of me remember how to do it. And we'll also write some little dialogue today as well, I reckon, if we can get it working. Another thing that we need to do, if you couldn't tell, this game is very inspired by Pikuniku. I'm a massive fan of Pikuniku, massive fan of the comedy of it and the style of the game. So we are going to have a similar thing in the sense that our options are going to display in a little text bubble as well. So I'll tell you what we'll do. First thing we'll do is duplicate our little speech bubble here, and we'll call it our options bubble. And what we're going to do is actually go on the bubble. I've got a vertical layout group. We're going to remove that and instead add a horizontal layout group, which we will give the same spacing, 25 on each side, 25 and 25. And under here, we will create a UI image, and this is going to be navigation arrow R for right. We will make it a nice deep red for the time being, and we will use our bubble tail sprite because, oops, no, not the bubble tail. There we go. And I'll tell you what, that is a bit too vibrant. Let's desaturate that and darken it down a little bit. Maybe go with like 75? No. 65? Yeah. And 90. And we will rotate that 90 degrees. Yeah, 90 degrees on that axis. And give it a width and height of 50 and 50. Our elements need to be, we want to not force child expansion, but we want to control child size. Oh, do I want to do that? I don't really want to make the... I can use layout elements. Of course I can. Stick this one at the front, give it a rotation of -90, so it's pointing in the other direction. And we are going to give these layout element components, which are going to have a preferred width and height of 50 by 50. Preferred width and height of 50 by 50. I always forget how to use the Unity UI properly. Have some spacing on there, 25, and the pivot is going to be the middle left. Middle center? Oh no, middle left is cool. Great, so now we've got this little options bubble which also follows our player around wherever he's going to be sat. And we can actually leave that target as the thing. The difference is going to be that we'll have to do some little custom scripting so that we can actually pick objects. And you know what, I'm going to just real quick get these test interactables, and I'm gonna set their order in layer to -5 so that they always appear behind. And we will set our player to be on layer 5 and the eyes to be on layer 6. No, we won't. We'll set them to be on 5 and we'll just move them forwards a bit. So now if we go out of 2D mode, it looks a bit weird because his eyes are miles in front of his face. Let's fix that, shall we? Yeah, there we go. Beautiful. So now we've got this ghost that walks around and can look around, and he's got his little pop-up. I am very happy with the way this looks. I have also just broken something, I think. Oh no, he just doesn't, it doesn't look like he's looking very far when you stood at an angle. It looks like he's still staring in this direction because it's not very far down for him to go. But he is in fact looking at the correct place. Awesome. So the thing that we need to do, we need to create some customization for this dialogue runner script and also for this dialogue UI script. And I'm thinking probably the best way to do it is going to be to just create our own. Yeah, let's do it. So I should have a folder in here somewhere called dialogue system UI, and we will create C# dialogue UI. I need to think of something else to call it. Oh, let's call it bubble dialogue UI. Yeah. And we are going to pull our other dialogue UI over here so that we can look at the two side by side. So we need to be using yarn.unity and we are going to have a dialogue UI behavior as the thing that we extend from. Let's implement our abstract class. What's it given us? We've got handler execution type, run command, run line, run options. So let's see what they do in here by default, and a lot of it is probably going to be copy pastable. there's just going to be a few differences that I want to put in for mainly the options handling. So first of all, let's nab their awake method. Oops. Paste that on in there. So we need a dialog container, which we're going to copy paste again. Let's do our header references, and references. There's probably going to be a lot of, or it's probably a valid question of why would I choose to create a new implementation of this class from scratch? And there's a couple of answers to that. For one, it's good for learning, because it means I actually have to properly understand the tool that I'm using. And you know, it's always good to learn things, especially if you're in an opportunity where you can kind of just mess about and see what happens. And the second reason obviously is that I do need some custom implementation, in that I want to have it so that we can cycle through a little pop-up bubble for deciding which text response we want to give. So we are going to have speech data, references. We are not going to have an options button. Instead, we are going to have a public game object, options container, and we are going to do this same thing here. This is cool. We will nab this boolean, which I will also give a header, even though they're going to be private. It's just nice to keep everything separated, so we'll have a private internals. Private system.action, current option select handler, method that we should call when the user has chosen an option externally provided by the dialog runner. Okay, that's probably going to be important, but we'll come back to it. For the time being, let's have a look at putting some methods in and seeing what gaps need filling. So I know this do run line and dialog.handler, the runline method stuff is going to be important. So let's grab this code, and this is going into this method, and we will nab our doRunLine method. Scroll please, and paste that in underneath. So that needs system.text. This is an event that we're going to pull across from the class as well. Online finish displaying is also an event. This is the really nice thing about Yarn Spinner and the way it's set up by default. Everything fires off an event when something happens. So when your dialogue starts, you get an event. When your dialogue ends, you get an event. When a line starts, you get an event. Line ends when a thing is continued, it fires off an event. There's events for like everything that could possibly happen, and that's really good. Really helpful, certainly. is going to be in here somewhere. A thing for something. I can't even remember what I was talking about. My brain just went elsewhere. It is a very cool system. Very powerful if you know how to use it. And learning how to use it is a challenge I have set myself, because there's also another project which I will be announcing in the new year that's going to be making use of this quite heavily. And I'm excited for that one, very excited indeed. Let's steal some of our events, shall we? We'll give them a header as well, events, and we are going to have on dialog start, and I am going to get rid of this. We're just gonna say we're using Unity Engine.events. And for anybody who doesn't know, I'm doing that autocomplete on a Mac by pressing Option Enter. Whenever there's an error that needs fixing, Option Enter gives you fixes for it. Sometimes there won't be a fix for, or well, there won't be the fix that you're looking for, but in cases where you need to implement an abstract class, or you need to import a missing package for a thing, then that's how you do that. Ooh, this one's new. So this is... Oh, do I remember what this does? This does a thing. I'm using it somewhere on here. Online update. Yes. So that fires off every time we add a new character in here. And basically just passes through the text that we have to a method. So we're using that online update event to fill out our dialogue text. I realise I basically didn't explain that at all in the sentence that I just said, but you'll see what I mean as we work our way through it. Here we go. We need online end, and I'm going to split these kind of in the same order as what we've got over in the class that is provided for us by the lovely contributors over on the Yarn repository on GitHub. Whoops. So each of these events basically just corresponds to a different thing that can happen. The dialogue start is when a series of dialogue interactions is kicked off. Dialogue end is when we hit the final line of the final node of that set of interactions. Online start is when a specific line of text in a given node is fired off. For example, over in our boss man, yes sir would be one line. Good. Be mindful though is another line. These are all separate lines. So that's triggered off when a new line is started. Online finish displaying is when, as you could imagine, the line finishes displaying. Online update is fired off every single time we add a new character to our displayed line. So in this implementation, we've got a little delay to each character, so it looks like it's being typed out, like it's on a typewriter, or being said slowly. That event gets fired every time a new character is written onto the dialogue box. or every time a new character is added to our string that we want to display. And we use that event to add the text to the text boxes. See, now I'm looking at online end, and I feel like it should do the same thing as online finish displaying, but that doesn't make any sense. Options start and end are to do with when the options come up and disappear. But I'll tell you what, seeing as we've got them here, let's have a look at some of the comments so that we know what we're on about. Online end is called when a line is finished displaying and should be removed from the screen. It's called after the mark line complete method has been called. And online finished displaying is called when a line has finished being delivered. My brain can't process what the difference is. It says to use online finish displaying for displaying UI elements like a continue button. And it says online end is used to dismiss the line's UI elements. So, okay, that makes sense. So this one, online end, is used for when the dialogue line is actually completely done, and we can close the UI bubble for that line. And then online finish displaying is used for displaying any UIs or displaying options after the line is finished being delivered, so after the speaking is done and before the player has indicated that they want to go to the next line. Cool. Let's have a quick check up on chat. Found myself a challenge since last week. You've given up on Unity and switched to Unreal. Fair enough. How are you finding it? I assume your main focus is 3D. I'm pretty sure you told me that in last stream, actually. Have you had a play around with the new Lumen stuff yet? Because I have not. Obviously, being on a Mac, I can't use Unreal. And also I don't think I could run it, but I want to know how good it is, because Lumen, that's something. Very, very much so a game changer in the not just the game industry but the film industry as well, especially considering all of the things that Industrial Light and Magic do with Unreal Engine. For those that are interested, I highly recommend watching the Mandalorian making of documentary. They use Unreal Engine a lot for the visual effects and backgrounds for those sets. Okay, let's get back on what we're doing. We have our run line class here. Takes in line, eyeline, localization, blah 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 blah, and an action for when the line is completed. And that is going to call this do run line, which now has all of the methods that we need it to have. Run options. This is where things are going to get a little more complicated. So, we're going to have to run things in a similar way. We'll nab this coroutine call, and then we will do some magical custom stuff. So we're going to have a private enumerator do run options, which is going to take in an option set, options collection, an I-line localization provider, which we are going to call localization provider, and an action on option selected. It's not an option, it's a system.action. Wait, no, it is an action. Oh, but it's specifically of type int. Okay. Cool. So, first things first, I need to sneeze, but the sneeze isn't coming. Enrico's World, hello. You've got a client that wants a face cam that's interactive to what's happening in the game. So basically, he wants a face cam to show reviving, show his death, get depleted. Don't know what to do. My knowledge code don't go that far. Well, to briefly explain what I would do, you've got a few options there. You could have some events that fire off for different things that happen in the game, like taking damage or healing or dying or seeing an explosion or things like that. And then in a separate class that you have for this heads-up display manager, because I assume you mean something like in the original Doom games, the original Wolfenstein games, where you had the little Doom man face down in the bottom that changed whenever he'd fire the guns and stuff. So you could have an event fire off whenever something happens that temporarily changes the sprite and then changes it back to a default, or changes the animation and then changes it back to default. How much would I charge you to do something like that? You can't be asked for it. Send me a message on Discord. There's a link in the description. I do tutoring and freelance development, so it's definitely a conversation I'd be open to having, and definitely something I'd be open to discussing. But yeah, join the Discord server down below and shoot me a message, and we can have a conversation around it. Get in touch, man. Get in touch. I'd love to teach you. Genuinely would love to teach you. This is my passion and has been for the past 11 years of my life. The amount I charge depends on what you want to learn and how much you want to learn. I've got a gig up on Fiverr for it if you want to get a basic idea of different approaches that I take. But again, I would shoot me a message over on Discord and we can have a one-on-one chat, maybe have a call, get an idea of what you want to learn specifically, and we can sort something out from there. But yeah, like I say, hit that link in the description, join in the Discord server and send me over a message. And we can get something sorted out. send me a Discord message, and I will give you infos. Currently playing around with a brick breaker game. Frozen well, you're throwing me off with the tongue twisters, my guy. Hoping to use it for a game jam next week. Awesome. What game jam is it? Is it the Xander jam? Or has that already happened? I feel like that's already happened. I'm looking forward to seeing the stuff that you do as well, in your 3D endeavors. Please do keep us posted over in the Discord server. Everything about stream stuff. What do you mean everything about stream stuff? Because streams are a thing in Java as far as coding goes, and probably in C# as well. I've also just realized I've called this collectino instead of collection, which is very important that we get that right. But yeah, Enrico's World, send me a message on Discord. That is the best way to get something organized, because I won't be able to go into too much detail on stream today, because we've got things that need doing, dialogue systems to make and all that jazz. I'll tell you what, yeah, just briefly, I do individual lessons as normal. I do a set block of lessons over 4 weeks, and there's also a course that I call the semester, where we basically do 3 months of covering basics, learning through doing a project, and then putting together a project of your own in a kind of game jam format. But again, send me a message or send me an email for any price quotes or anything. Jam with a local group of developers, but anyone can join. It's on itch. Oh, nice. Shoot us over a link over in the Discord server. That would be really awesome to get some of the other guys from the community involved in that, and potentially myself as well if I have time. That would be really fun. Just aligned new hand models with the Valve Index controller. That leaves the Vive and Quest 2 controllers. How does that end up working? I feel like it should be universal, but clearly it isn't. So please do tell me. Okay, so we are going to, up here, we're going to have an current index. Current option index, which is equal to 0. We are then going to do waiting for option selection equals true. What? Where is the select option? Oh, it's from there. Okay. Current option select handler. What is this? The method that we should call when the user has chosen an option. Okay, I will take this, stick this up in internals because it is private, and we will get rid of our call to system because we are already using system. Oh, and we need that boolean as well for waiting for option selection. I swear I had that already. Stick that under internals as well. Where do you message me? There should be a link in the description to join the Shiba Dog Studios Discord server. If you head over to there and then either ping me in the general channel or send me a private message on there, I am Shiba, then I'll shoot you back a message after the stream is finished, or in the morning, because this stream is probably going to finish around 10 PM and I would like to spend some time chilling, but I will get in touch with you promptly and get some information back to you around stuff. Different controllers are shaped differently. That makes sense. Tracking origins are not aligned to be universal. Fair dues. Also, feel is completely different between them. It's really interesting. I have a lot of respect for developers like yourself who make games for VR, because it does feel way more difficult than developing for just a normal, like a PC, or developing for console even. Yeah, it's impressive. Line 45 should use option container. Oh god, yeah, you're right. Man, Sam, what would I do without you? What would I do without you? You are a lifesaver. I would have completely missed that. Right, let's have a look here. So we now have our current option. Selection handler is going to equal select option. Oh, select option. There we go. Semicolon. So now what we want to do is, what do we want to do? Oh, Assassin Gamer, you're here. I am back. Mate, you gotta pay attention to the Discord server, which, to be fair, I can't blame you for not, because I have been very quiet, but we are back streaming weekly. Currently, we're working on Let Me Out, which is the game that we're releasing for Halloween. Very special. You can find more information over at shibadogstudios.com/games/Let Me Out. This was the game that kicked off the studio. This is the whole reason that Shibadog Studios exists. We developed it, or started developing it, a year ago for the 47th Ludum Dare, and I'm bringing it back for this Halloween. So it'll be releasing on October 31st, 2021. And I feel you on the college has been killing you side of things. University has been killing me as well. It's back. Lectures are back, and I want to cry because it's just a pain in the backside. So here's what we do. We are going to do, while waiting for option selection, we are going to check for option change. No, we're not. I'm not going to put that in a separate message. I'm going to just put a comment. Check. Comment, please. Check to see if the player changes their selection. No, not yet. Not yet. First things first. Let's set the current option to be the first available. And I'm also just going to stick in a yield return null at the end of here so that our method stops complaining. So we are going to do options container.setActive true, which we're actually going to replace that with an animation eventually, so it does a nice little whoop. But forget that for right now. We'll just make it activate. And we will need to set the text somehow. So we're actually going to create a new public Unity event on option changed, which is going to behave in a similar way to our online update. We're going to do an on option changed (dot invoke), and we're going to pass through options collection 0 square brackets and then I need to, that's why it's a dialogue runner dot, yeah. So this needs to be dialogue runner dot string unity event. I'll stick an extra break in between those. So that is going to be what updates our things. Why are you still complaining? Cannot convert from... Oh, dot. Is it line? No. To string? ID. No. Line.id. Is that an int? No, it's a string. Ugh, that's not a fan of that syntax, but we'll go with it. Current option index. So while we are waiting for an option selection, oh my god, my brain is melting. Okay, so this is their code on the right. Their code on the right, my code on the left. Their code, we're using buttons. So first of all, it does a check to see if we've got more options than there are buttons, and if there are, we print out an error. We don't need to worry about that because we're not using buttons. We can have as many options as we like. It then sets int I to 0. Sets waiting for an option to true, sets our option selection handler to the select option action that gets passed through, and then for every option in our options collection, we are saying set the button at position I to true, remove all of its listeners, and then add listener select option option string.id. That's fine, we don't need to worry about that. Or do we need to worry about that? No, we kind of do. So in this one, yeah, screw it, I'll explain while I'm going. So we need to do, first of all, check to see if the player changes their selection. So if input dot get I guess get axis, we will say float input equals input dot get axis horizontal is not equal to 0. Oh, what have I done here? Oh, I have to define it up here, don't I? Float input, and then I can say input equals input.getAxis horizontal. If it's not equal to 0, then we will say current option index plus equals mathf dot sign of input. And we will cast that to an int because we can. It'll either be 1 or -1 depending on if it's positive or negative. You want to do the classes as in you like tutoring. If you'd like tutoring, let's have a looky on my phone here because there should be a link in the description. I do private classes. Oh, there is no link in the description. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Let me grab a link real quick. Is there not a link in the description? I could have sworn there was a link. There is a link in the description. The Join Our Community Discord link. If you head over to that, and join the Discord server, then oh gosh, phone please. Yeah, click that link and join the Discord server, and then either send a message in the general channel or send a message to me personally, and I will give you information for what the options are, how much they cost, and we can get something organized for getting some lessons. But that's the best way to do that. Either that or send me an email at cuba.stanley@shubadogstudios.com, and I will respond to you through there. If you want, actually, there's I think it's support. Yeah, if you go to shubadogstudios.com/support, this get in touch button brings up a form. You can stick in your name, your email, subject being tutoring or lessons, and put some information for what you want to learn there, and I can email you the details. But yeah, awesome. I will respond to that promptly after we finish the stream. So we are doing input handling. We're going to say current option index plus equals mathf.sign of input, and then we will say current option index equals mathf.clamp, and we are going to clamp it. We need to pass in current option index. We're going to set the minimum to 0 and the maximum equal to options collection.length count because it's a list. Oh wait, is it going to be options collection dot options dot count length -1, and we specifically have to say -1 because otherwise we can end up being we'll end up having a value that's 1 greater than the total amount of options that we've got, and we'll get a null pointer exception, or an out of index out of range exception. So that's cool, and then we need to make sure we go in and do an on option changed forward stop full stop dot invoke, and we will do the options collection dot options current option index dot line dot id as the text that we pass through. So that's our handling. Then we want to check if the player confirms their selection. So if inputs dot capital I input put dot get, I'm going to say button. I shouldn't say button, but I'm going to say get button down. Oh no, I do want to say get key down, key code dot space, or input dot get. Tell you what, let me close those real quick. Get key down, key code dot enter. Oh, it's return, isn't it? Yeah, keycode dot return. Then we can invoke our options methods. Of course, we need to invoke on options start. We'll do that under here on options start dot invoke. And down at the bottom here, we are going to do on options end dot dot invoke. So in here, what we want to do is invoke our thing. We are going to do select, oops, select option, which is a method that I'm going to have to steal, I imagine. Yeah, here it is. Yoink. Just steal that and stick that under here. We are going to select option and we are going to pass through option string. So option collection dot options current option index. .id. Takes me a minute, but we got there. We're going. Oh, we need to make sure we do this localization provider stuff eventually, but I mean, technically we kind of don't, because I don't have any translations. And for any of you who are into game development and have been following Jonas Tyroller, you know that translations can be a faff if you get community contributions, because you have to get people to sign copyright waivers for legal reasons. This is fine. So I think that's basically it. And then in here we can say waiting for option selection equals false, because we've selected our option. Oh, we've already done it in here. Perfect. So we can just not do that. We can just do select option and that does the thing. And that invokes our current option selection handler as well. Oh, beautiful. So that is running lines done and running options done. So running commands. We've also got this dialog started method called when the dialog system has started running. Let's stick this in there just so that we don't have gaps. I'm going to put this up in here, dialog handling methods. Can't spell. Handling methods end. Same thing with dialog complete. We'll have this mark line complete in here, and we'll put this underneath there. So this will be called by our player when we press the space button. Yeah, when we press the space button on the player. I mean, that kind of feels like a... Nah, screw it. We're going to do user requested next line equals input dot get key down key code dot space. Okay, key code dot space or input dot get key down key code dot enter at return. And then we don't need this method. On complete, do we have that? Oh yeah, it's a parameter. Cool. So that's our lines. Yep, lines done. Select option is good. Dialog complete and started is good. Run command. This is the bit that we need. So fire off our on command dot invoke command dot text and return dialog dot handler execution type dot continue execution. Beautiful. I think that's everything, you know. Yeah, that's everything. Awesome stuff. We have finished our dialog UI class. So let's head back over into here and we will replace our current UI script that we've got on here with the new dialog bubble dialog UI. Just gonna move it up. Oh, I can't. Okay, we'll open the prefab and we'll remove component, drag and drop there, move up. Our dialog container is the speech bubble, and then we're going to have to back out because we need to screw it, apply all. Speech bubble, options bubble, and then we need to set all of these events, which I totally haven't forgotten how to do. So on dialog start, we are going to enable our speech bubble. Set active true. On dialog end, we are going to disable our speech bubble. Set active false. Online start. Actually, I think that needs to be the one that does it. So this is where I reference the one that comes built in. Yeah, it's online start. We activate the text. Wait, what? You know, I'm not gonna question. I am not gonna question. We're gonna do it. We're gonna wing it. Guys. We're gonna see what happens. Online update. Ah, that's what it'll be. We'll come back to that in a second. So online update, we need to drag our dialog text into here and go text mesh pro UGUI and text, so that can pass in the string. On options start, we are going to drag in the options bubble here and set it active. Set active true. On options changed, we are going to pass in our dialog text and text mesh pro UGUI text. And on options end, we are going to disable our thing. This is fine. So the reason I did my little kind of thing is because for this online start we are no, actually never mind. I was going to say for this online start we're probably going to look and see who it is that's talking, but that's not going to be the case because we're going to run that as a command, but we'll figure that out in a minute. For the time being, I am going to update our target position for the speech bubble, the dialogue speech bubble, to be our bed, because that makes it a little easy to look at. Stick him up there. 1.5. And we will go on our speech bubble and we will set our target to that. There we go. So theoretically now if we press play it should work, but it won't because that's just my luck. Yes, there we go. Can't run the dialogue. Implementation wasn't set. What? Oh, I haven't put the UI in there. Fingers crossed, everybody. Fingers crossed. Hey, Sally. Ah, that's cool. Don't do that. Okay, that's... that's something. That's not what we want, but it is something. That's something. that's I'll say it again, that's something. No, that's better than I thought it would be. So we are using the wrong text for our buttons, and that is because probably shouldn't be using line.id, line.text. Wow, it was really that simple. Use the ID to look the text up in the string table. How do I look the text up in the string table? I guess I need to do this. Always better than doing nothing, yeah. It is always better than doing nothing. Hopefully that fixes it, although I don't have any localization. Hey Sally. Oh hi. You snuck up on me. Don't do that. So close. We've got it. Guys, we've got it. He's only gone and done it, so we need to go and put the same thing in here. Oh, that is fantastic. So now we have a working dialogue system. I didn't think I would achieve this in this stream, if I'm completely honest, because I have never used Yarn Spinner before. I've never implemented it properly before. So now I can pick my options. Not really. Same old Nebula doing the same old thing. Ship wanted to see you. Go say hi to it, and then I can go say hi to it. It's really choppy, but it's not the frame rate. It's just my computer. Probably because I'm streaming at the same time as using Unity. But this is great. This is great. So the next thing to set up is the custom command for identifying a speaker. Let's see if we can do that in 30 minutes. So over on the Yarn website, that is quite bright, we have got a command section. So there's built-in commands like wait and stop. They made a custom command called set sprite, which I can show you actually. We've got this sprite switcher here, yarn command set sprite, public void use sprite. So this basically, when you define yarn command as a tag on a method, it will call that method when that yarn command is passed in the thing. and then you can specify the target. But I'm not 100% sure on the way it works. So let's have a quick read through the documentation, and we'll zoom in so that we can do it together, because learning together is great. So we should be able to just do set speaker and then the character, and then yeah, okay, let's do this. So we are going to create we're going to create a, under MISC, we are going to create a C# script called set speaker command. And of course we are going to be using yarn.unity. And we are going to have, it's going to have a public speech. Sorry, my eye's itchy. Jeez, public speech. That's not what I call it. Dialogue bubble scalar. My dialogue bubble. And we are going to have a yarn command. Command string equals set speaker with a lowercase s, public void set speaker string speaker tag. What have I done wrong here? Oh, I just need to leave it as is, like that. And then in here, we should be able to say transform new target equals game object dot find game object with tag dialogue underscore speaker tag. Dot transform. Oh no, I can't do that. We're gonna have it as game object. Because what we then want to do is do a null check. We're gonna say if new target is null, debug dot log error, the given speaker tag could not be found in the scene, and we'll stick the speaker tag on the end there as well. And also, no, we won't pass through this because we don't need to see what caused the issue, and then we will return so that we don't continue. Otherwise, we can say my dialog bubble dot set target new target dot get component type of entity. Well, I'll tell you what. Can I do find child? Transform dot find child. This is not a very good way to do things. Oh, it's deprecated. What does it suggest I use instead? Oh, it does want a string. Dialogue target. Oh, just find. Okay. And it is dialogue target. Pass through the transform for that. Sick. So actually no, we don't even need to do that. We can just do new target.transform, and what we can do is actually label this dialogue target with the correct thing. So on our speech bubble, we're going to stick on our set speaker command. There's our speech bubble. Let me just make sure I haven't missed anything, because there's this adding commands through codes. You can add new commands directly to a dialogue runner using the add command handler. No, we're not going to worry about that. Yeah, that's all good. So what we'll do now, if we go over into our desktop, Shibadog Studio Games, let me out, assets, dialogues, general. Ooh. Okay, we'll make a new one. And this is going to be test dialogue. Okay, and we'll pop this open and we can do set speaker bed. Hi Ghosty, set speaker ghost player. The player isn't called Ghosty, by the way. The enemy is called Ghosty in this game, but I need something to call the ghost while I'm talking. Hi bed. Do an exclamation mark, why not? How are you doing today? Question mark. Set speaker bed. I'm doing well, thanks, mate. How are you? And then we will branch off. Which I can never remember how to do. Oops. But we can add link to node, which we will call, I don't know, good. And we'll also do not great. See you, Frozen Well. Thanks for stopping by, man. Hope you have a good evening. Delete that one and delete that one. And then in good, we will set speaker player. I'm doing really good, actually. Set speaker bed. Great. Keep enjoying life like that. I'll catch you around. That could be the end of that one. And then bad, we will set speaker player. I'm not great, to be honest. Been suffering with fatigue, I guess. Set speaker bed. Oh no, that's not great. Feel free to have a nap on me anytime. Set speaker player ... set speaker bed. It's not weird, I swear. Okay, and then we will save as a yarn file. We are saving this into general, and this is test.dialog.yarn. Node not great contains illegal characters. I feel like maybe we're not allowed spaces. Or maybe we are just not allowed. Yeah, cool. Save. Okay, so on our dialog runner, let's change this over to test dialog, and our start is going to be start. We are running it automatically. Let's see what happens. Well, it would help if I set the speakers first, wouldn't it? Add a new tag, which is going to be dialog underscore player. Add another new tag, dialog underscore bed. And then on the player dialog target, we will assign dialog player. And on the bed dialog target, we will assign dialog bed. Let's see what happens. Nothing. Oh, it didn't even bring up our options that time. So, clearly I've done something wrong. Let's have a little compare, shall we? Well, first of all, let's have a look at the documentation to make sure I've actually set up my command properly. 2 ways: automatically via the yarn command attribute. Yeah, so that's fine. That'll pick it up. We've got our yarn command attribute on here with set speaker as the title, and our dialog is using set speaker as our command that we're using. So that's fine. But clearly it's not getting called. So we are going to do as we would do. If I try and open that, it doesn't open it. It's just really annoying. I wonder if I can drag and drop. Oh, okay, well that was something. Yeah, let's see how the options work. There we go. So we need to do something like this. Need a bar, and then we are doing test dialog dot good. Test dialog dot not great. Have our bar. I'm not too great. Oh, have I done those the wrong way around? No, I haven't. Oh, it's because these, yeah. Fidget. There we go. Okay, that's first step done. See you, Indian. Thanks for stopping by, man. It's a pleasure as always. Have a good one. Maybe you're not allowed to use capital letters. Although I feel like that would be weird. Oh, here we go. It doesn't say anywhere on here what the thing is that I can use. Like, live streaming. Nice. That's cool. Night Haze. I feel like we need an extra thing. I've missed something somewhere. The on command lets you expose methods in a mono behavior. When you add the on command attribute to a method, you specify the name, blah blah blah. You can then use that name along with the name of the game object that should receive that command as a command. For example, K. So I need to specify speech bubble. Set speaker speech bubble. And last one. Cool. Save that off. I'm going to delete these out of here as well, because we're not using them anymore. Okay, moment of truth, guys. Fingers crossed. No! Didn't work! Definitely called speech bubble. Definitely got the right tag. I tell you what, let's add a quick debug.log setting speaker, just to make sure it's doing the things. Because my suspicion is it isn't. Enjoy your school grind, Assassin Gamer. I'll see you next Tuesday, hopefully. Have a good one. Yeah, okay, so it's not calling our custom command. I honestly don't know why. My first guess is that you're not allowed uppercase. And we'll test that. Let's do that, see what happens. No, still not calling it. And our options still aren't coming up either. Which is interesting. Oh, this could be where the evening comes undone, unfortunately. Oh no. Oh, you're joking me. Okay, I've accidentally overwritten Sally instead of okay. Oops. So I need to go onto my dialogue runner and actually change this over to Sally instead, and that should now work. Hi Ghosty. Hi Bed. How are you doing today? Oh. Okay. Oh wait, no, I know why that worked. Yeah, I know why that worked. Because we did the set speaker, we changed it to be not uppercase. So let's just change that back. We're gonna save that up. We're gonna head back into Unity. Save in here as well. And we're gonna make sure this is a capital S, so that it reads the right commands. Yeah, cool. So there we go. That's a really nice place to end up on the stream. We've now got this functioning dialogue system with a bubble that pops up over a custom location. Oh, that is so good. I am genuinely really chuffed with that. Doing really good, actually. Great. Keep enjoying life like that. I'll catch you around. So there we go. That's a brilliant place to end. Hopefully you guys found this live stream somewhat educational and enjoyable to watch. I want to say a massive thank you to all of you who came along and hung out with me while I was doing this. I will probably write a blog article about this on the Shiba Dog Studios website, so if you want to find out when that came out so that you can reference this kind of stuff later, head to the link in the description and sign up for the newsletter. You'll get sent through a free copy of the Square Off demo, and we'll send you a monthly email to give you updates on games, updates on new tutorials and things like that. If you want to help support the studio and you want to get access to these live stream recordings after they've happened, please consider giving us a bit of financial support over on Patreon. It's only £1 a month, and it, you know, every little helps keep the studio running, helps pay for things like our website and distribution fees for stores like Steam and other places like that. If you want to find out more about this game and keep in touch with the awesome community that surrounds this channel and the things that we do, please consider joining the Discord server if you haven't already. There's a link for that in the description too. And yeah, it's been really fun again, as always. It's nice to be back. I'm back in the swing of things. Hopefully I will see many of you next week in the next one. Thanks very much, guys. I'll see you around.